So I just wanted to say that today's episode is sponsored by Asea redox signaling molecules. Now, it comes in two forms, the liquid and the gel, plus there's a huge other product range for us. But why did I start taking Asea, and why is it now an integral part of something that my whole family, both four-legged and two-legged, take every single day? Plus also something that all the clients I work with, again, four-legged and two-legged, it's number one on my priority list. Well, part of what I do, what I'm passionate about, is understanding the challenges that are affecting each and every one of us in today's modern living. The more you know, the more sometimes you wish you didn't know, but the pollution in the air, in the water, in the food, the control of our minds, the propaganda. But one of the things that we can do is take back responsibility for our own health. Now, every single cell of our body, whether we're an animal, whether we're one of the dogs in the backgrounds or one of my plants, contain these redox signaling molecules, and cellular health and cellular communication is absolutely key, whether you want to get your body back in balance, whether you want to reverse the aging process, whether you want to address any particular challenges that you've got physically, emotionally. It all starts with healthy cells. If your liver cells are healthy, your liver's healthy. If your brain cells are healthy, your brain's healthy. But just like a mobile phone, most of us have got mobile phones that we use on a routine basis now, but that mobile phone, regardless of whether you've got the latest model, is completely useless without a signal. So what does this technology do? The gel is something that you can apply topically over particular areas of concern, whether you want your skin to look better, whether you've got a cellulite, whether you've got an area that's causing you a challenge. The liquid is something you drink each and every day to top up what should be in your cells anyway. But when our bodies are stressed, diseased, challenged, or as we age, we make less of them. So personally, I wouldn't be without it. My sleep's better, my energy levels are better, my mood's better, my mobility's better. If you want to find out more, the details are below. But I'm so grateful that this came into my life, and I'm so grateful I can share it with others. I hope you love it as much as I do. Let me know. I am absolutely delighted to be back with my really good friend from Australia, Teymara. And Teymara, the heavens have just opened here. So if you hear loads of thunder and lightning, you know why. But we're going to discuss some really interesting things today. But before we do, how are you doing?
Look, I'm doing really well. And I went and visited some friends that I haven't seen for quite a long period of time yesterday. And lo and behold, have a guess what? We started talking about what's been going on. And the female of this couple has been a friend of mine for quite a long period of time. Her partner has recently come over from America. Yeah, and that's a long story, you know, how she met him many, 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 many years ago. But he's quite tuned into everything, but not into everything. So it was like, well, there's this and there's this and there's this, and she's looking at him going like, oh my God, like, you know, like how do you know that? And oh my God, and that's incredible. And you know, and then I'm going, well, yes, and blah blah and blah blah and blah. And I mean, it blew me out of the water. So I left there after 3 hours and just went, wow, you just never know who is awake, and you just never know who is half awake, and all they need is that bit of information to fully wake them. But I mean, it was fascinating. And like I said, I left there and I was like, I just nearly like skipped out of the place. I just went, oh my God, what an incredible time. Yeah, what an incredible time.
That's
because,
amazing.
you know, the thing they didn't know about was the 10 days of getting your non-perishable food and your water.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, and they went like, really? And I went, yeah. And I said, but I've got a saying. And I said, and my saying is trusting God, but tie up your donkey. So do I know that we're going to be in this situation for 10 days? Do I know 100%? No. That it's like, but how foolish would I be to have this information and not to be prepared? So I'm trusting in God that hopefully it doesn't happen, but I'm tying up my donkey by filling up my pantry with all of my non-perishable foods and all of my water.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. There's quite a few things I want to dig into today, which really link into that. And that is great news. And it really links into some of the stuff that I want to pull out from the russellbrand exposure that's coming out, because I think there's so many lessons we can learn from this. And it ties into what you've just said, because so many people are saying sort of awake, but not fully awake. And everything's a sliding scale. And so what is really fascinating with the russellbrand allegations that have come out over the weekend is the fact that even in whatever community you sit in and however awake you're labeling yourself as, people are still going forward with this absolute I'm right and they're wrong, and almost shaming, like, you know, I've seen so much of it over the weekend, you know, well, these people don't know what's going on. I always knew he was controlled opposition, or the complete opposite end of the scale, where people are saying, you know, of course they're coming from now because he's showing the exposure. So I think this belief system and this behavior that we're either awake or we're not, and tying into, you know, I've made a judgment, I've got a really strong opinion based on how I'm feeling about whether this person is controlled. Let's talk about the controlled opposition to begin with. You know, everyone's definition of what controlled opposition is going to be different, and what is controlled opposition, and can sometimes it have a benefit as well, because actually you can have both sides, assuming there's only two sides, which is a big assumption, but let's keep it simple. Both sides can be using controlled opposition. So labeling someone as controlled opposition could be from either side. So
I've got hay fever at this end. So you know, if I do a sneeze, it's like it's springtime here, guys. We're doing the spring and the blossom is out and the sun is out. So this is something that came up today, and I thought it was very, very, very apropos of what it was that you sent me through, going like, can we have a look at this? What do you think about having a look at this? And it's, her name is Becky Barrow, and I'm pretty sure she's a journalist, but somebody just reposted it, and a journalist friend of mine. And she stated that it took 4 years. It took a team of top journalists, editors, lawyers, and many more. Investigations are not cheap, but they are very important, and we should all support them. So, and this is, again, it's what was stated. It's sad to see how many people say they resent the paywall to read our russellbrand investigation. So this is interesting, because as she's saying, this is 4 years, and it's 4 years of an investigation.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So I thought,
checked out who the woman is.
I thought that's very, very interesting. I will go in and I will search for her, and I'll let you know who she actually is.
Yes,
but I'm pretty sure she's a journalist here in Australia.
But lots of journalists come with lots of different integrities, and isn't this interesting? Is exactly the point. You know, you and I have spoken, and so have so many other people. It's a difficult one for Teymara, because when cases like this come up, there's so many different reasons it could be. But like you, me and Bryce have spoken about so many times, all of them can be true. So could be controlled application. It could be a smear campaign because he's getting too close to the truth and he's got so popular now. I mean, he's got millions and millions of followers. he's very open, and I'm not justifying any of it. I'm just throwing all these cards out onto the table. He's said for years, he's written a book about his sex addiction. You don't go put
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
if you've not got a problem with it.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah. I actually met him in LA.
Yeah.
Like where my close girlfriends, where they go to have their nails done. And I was in there one day, and I said, I'm going to go and have my nails done. She goes, yeah, okay, cool. So do I have them done now? No, but I did then. And he was in there with either his girlfriend or his wife, girl with long blonde hair, and their child. And I mean, and he was just lovely. He was lovely. He was charming. It was, So, as I say to people, you've got to trust yourself with all of this, with everything. You have got to trust you. You have got to trust your gut feelings. And Erica, my coordinator for my seminars, she said that one of the guys that's on platform had really bad-mouthed Christian 21 and about something, and then he's now come around and he's gone, I have to apologize to you, Christian 21, for everything that I said about you, because all of this that you were saying that I badmouthed you about has come true. It's come true. So I'm deeply, deeply sorry. I'm so sorry. And this is what I say to people, it's so very, very easy just to open your mouth and to badmouth somebody because you think that your opinion is right and their opinion is wrong, that their research isn't okay and your research is, because you've researched ABC and then you're programmed to believe that ABC is they know what they're talking about. But the people over here that may be XYZ, that their research is null and void because they don't know what they're talking about, because where they are actually doing their research, or that their research doesn't fit with your research. It's fascinating. And I was talking to my my phenomenal chiropractic kinesiologist today, and I was having a good talk to Kim in regard to all of the different supplements that are available out there, and how all of the like the alternative medicine, how all of that started with people taking vitamins, people taking minerals, this being told to you that you've got to take, or that you've got to take, or something else that you have to take. And and as I said to him, I said, well, I've been doing a whole lot of research and looking at the backs of all of these different supplements, all of these different companies, and looking at who owns them.
Yeah, so I'm going to step in there. Yeah, I'm going to step in there, because the bit that you're talking about and doing it is the agenda pushing that. Because if you think, long before we even had TV and things like this, herbalists have existed forever, and natural medicine people, but they were doing things in a very different form. And as you say, that this is where it's so complex, isn't it, Teymara, for so many people, because the dark agenda, like Bryce and I have done loads of interviews with people on cults. Why? Because there's so much we can learn from these situations. Because when you put things like vitamin D, so there's no one that's going to be watching this is not going to be aware of the benefits of different vitamin D. And actually, probably most people watching this are aware of why we're all so deficient in vitamin D now. And we could do a whole series of shows on that with regard to chemical and climate engineering, for a start, our food supplies and everything. But the thing is they take something good and then twist it for something bad. They're doing it with the food. I'm seeing so many so-called awake people talking about how veganism is a cabal activity, which is absolutely hysterical when they're consuming the A word of things that have been slaughtered in a slaughterhouse, and the stress and adrenaline that goes with that. So you can see how easily misled people are, where they take one idea and then go so far down that one path without saying, hang on a minute, who's asking me? And I love that you brought that up, Teymara, because it's been one of my biggest bugbears. You know, I've been a holistic practitioner for well over 20 years now, as I know you have. And the problem is there's so much rubbish out there where people take a little bit of good information and manipulate it and then do more harm than good.
Yeah, but you know, like I'll be, you know, occasionally I'll put television on to see, you know, Escape to the Country or whatever, and like an advertisement will come on, and it will be about, you know, like this vitamin or that vitamin, and I just sit there and I just go, oh my God, lordy, lordy be. But you'll find, and it's the same as everything that is good for us. The dark has come in, and I love it. What Christian 21 now calls them, the dark hearts. Right. So we've got white hearts and we've got black hearts, okay, instead of hats. But how they have found out that somebody has invented something, and that's going to like further our lifespan. So then what do? They come in, they offer a huge amount of money, they buy that from the person that's invented it, and then they shelve it.
That's exactly what they tried to do with Asea, and they didn't do it. So they found out how many, and we're not allowed to make any medical claims, but how miraculous the results were. So a big pharmaceutical company came in and tried to buy it for billions. And then the owners of the company at the time found out that they were going to stop. The condition of them buying it is they stopped everyone using it. And they were like, no way, because this is, you're so right, it happens all the time. And I suppose the reason why I brought up the russellbrand issue and with things like this is sometimes when there's a really high profile case, and obviously I'm from the UK, he's from the UK. russellbrand was famous in the UK for years before he hit the rest of the world. And when he was famous over here, he was famous for being an absolute wild child. He's very open about his addiction to drugs. He's very open about his addictions to sex. And I can't say any more about that on YouTube. But the thing is, look at what we've seen, Teymara, and I'd love your opinion on this. Look at how many people who are coming out and exposing the truth have actually had to be in certain lifestyles to see what's going on, to actually realize it. I mean, look at the amount of people who've been in the Illuminati who are now blowing whistles. If we didn't have these insiders who've been part and parcel of it, that had completely transformed their lives. And I don't know whether Russell has or not. I have met him personally, but not as a friend, only at an event. So, you know, I can't pretend to know him at all. But it's so fascinating. It's you're buggered if you do and you're buggered if you don't, if you excuse the expression. Because everyone criticised the TV channels for not exposing Rolf Harris, not exposing Jimmy Savile, all these huge P words that we've known for years. And then when someone does try and do something, so either way, it's like every single one of us that's going to raise a different issue. And for me, I really want your opinion on this. The lessons learned from it is how much when we go in with our righteous anger and judgment about these people, is it because we're scared? We're thinking, my God, imagine if I was in that position and everyone could say whatever they liked about me and I'd have no recompense about it.
Well, I think the thing is that we've basically, and again, here we go, we've basically been programmed.
Yeah.
So, you know, as I was explaining, I'm doing like an intensive, a Born to Be Free intensive on the 1st of October here. And we're doing all of the clearing work in the EE system room at the centre. So I'm only doing 15 people.
Yeah.
And it's a gifted, basically more of a gifted type of a session. But as I was explaining to the group that are going to be attending this is like a really deep dive down into your subconscious, because you've done all of the clearing work first and foremost in Born to Be Free. It's done. But what we're doing now, when you do the clearing work a second time, it goes even deeper.
Yeah.
And down there in those deep recesses of the subconscious mind is all of our programming, all of our like all of our belief systems in regard to what is right and wrong, what it is that we need to fight against, and what it is that we need to stand on our soapboxes if it's A, B, or C, because that's how we were raised to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, does that make any sense to you? And they go, well, no. And I go, no, because you do not know if that is correct or not. Yeah, we had this woman here, Lindy Chamberlain, and her baby was actually taken by a dingo.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
right. Well, it's like if you had been here in Australia when all of that went down, and all of, her appearing, oh, like it was awful. It was awful. And how much evidence was not shown. That poor woman, that poor family. Yeah. So again, you've got the people that are programmed with their attitude about, oh, she's guilty, because she's a Seventh-day Adventist. They're all into this and into that. It was the same as like with the Sound of Freedom.
Exactly.
Like, oh no, it's like, well, like he's a Mormon, and you know what Mormons are all about. And this one is a Catholic, well, we all know about the Catholic. And that's why I lost it. The show with Bryce. And I said, I don't care what religion they are. I don't care. They are out there, and they are exposing this. And I think it's the same thing with Russell. He is out there, and he is exposing what he is exposing to the people that are his followers, the people that are his listeners. So he's touching these people like out there in order to wake them up. So you've got split. It's split. It's the same as everything. You've got the split, and this is the problem, that we have got these splits that are going on, and we should all be coming together.
You've hit the nail on the head.
So if I look,
nail on the head, Teymara, because I had a family situation yesterday where there was a big family argument with an extended family, and every single person, there were 4 of us at that table, and we've all got a completely different view on what the situation is, because we're all seeing life through our own lens. And I just want to read out again from Don Miguel Ruiz and Jose Ruiz, the 4 agreements. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstanding, sadness, and drama. As a race, we're so addicted to drama. With one agreement. So what I would say is, if in everyday life, we all, every single one of us, me very much included, all of us, see life through our own lens, and that becomes our belief. But
that's it.
Like you said, the sound of freedom, if we expect everyone who's sharing truth and raising awareness to be whiter than white and never have made mistakes in their life, and quite frankly, a lot of people who've had the type of addictions that someone like russellbrand, and I'm not excusing anything, I'm not making it shame, I'm just saying that people move through different stages of their lives. Doesn't mean that they shouldn't take accountability for the things they've done. But most people who are in that level of addiction can't even remember most of their life, quite frankly. And there's so many scientific experiments that have been done why witness statements are so inaccurate, because we all, as you've just said, just don't realize how programmable, and our recollection of an event, Yesterday's event, very fresh in the mind, 4 people sitting there, all of us have got a very different recollection of where the blame lies, what the issues are, who said what to who. And the reason I'm raising this is all we have to do, in my opinion, as humans, is accept that our opinions are inherently biased and be open to them changing. So you, Bryce, and I have had many discussions which say all of it can be true. I have never been into the jungle to rescue children and would not have any of the physical skills, the emotional skills, the mental skills to do it. I would be hopeless in that situation, but I've got other skills. So you have to have a certain personality set to run for president of the United States. Obviously, most psychopaths, but you have to have different roles, have to have different personality traits. And if you were the people that are standing out and saying all these things, exposing it, the hypocrisy, which I find unbelievable, whether it's Joe Rogan, whether it's russellbrand, whether if it's whoever, in one respect, where we hear something that backs up our belief systems, they're our heroes, and thank God, and all this alternative media is everything, and we'll share everything at the click of a button. And then as soon as they say something that doesn't meet our personal values, suddenly they're controlled opposition. And it's like, people cannot win. You cannot win. Look at the things that have been said about Ricardo Bossi. So we want real men that are going to stand up and be able to fight and do things and are not going to bow at the first obstacle. But at the same time, they're not allowed to swear. They're not allowed to do this. They're not. It just is madness, isn't it? It's asking a lion to be a little Persian pussycat.
That's right. That's right. And the thing is,
get the lion's job done.
Yeah, but the thing is that what I love about Rick, and by the way, especially if you're from Australia, I would highly recommend that you tune into the last Australia One platform show that they did. Guru was on it, but Derek Johnson. Now, Derek Johnson is a very, very interesting guy. He is fascinating, and he and Rick did some really, really dug in and came up with some really, really great intel. So, Australians would get a lot from it, but everyone would get a lot from it. And the thing is with Rick, as you know, he's a personal friend of mine, and he doesn't give a shit. Got a problem with me?
Yeah.
Got a problem with me? Your problem, look, I swear, and that's what I do. I swear.
And so you're on purpose, don't you think, Teymara? He's so clear on his purpose, and his purpose is not to be rich and famous. His purpose is to change the world, and he's so clear on that.
That's it.
It's like that energy field around you will bounce everything off. And I would like your opinion, because this is so much of the work you do, Teymara. Do you think the reason why so many people are spending so much time putting their opinion and trying to convince others, because they haven't got that inner belief? They don't know where their boundaries lie. They don't know really what a lot of their core beliefs are, and therefore it's easy to reflect outside.
I think what I have found, like since being on the platform and all of the people that I've had the honor to read for, once they got to know who they were on a soul level and what the programming was about all of the sensitive levels that come up when I'm doing, like people's charts, that comes up because the levels of sensitivity are there. It's there.
Yeah.
So I go, right, okay. And, and as you know, I say to people, I don't want to know anything about you. You're not to talk to me. It's like, you're not to tell me anything. I am telling you. And then I'll get to a certain spot, and then I'll go, right, now, any questions? Now, when I'm saying any questions, you are not to tell me anything. It's just, are you clear about what it is that I have just covered? If not, ask me the questions to do with that. I don't want to know about anybody else in your life or anything. And I get really, really shitty if somebody, because they can't stop, their mouth going, but, and I'll go, and I bang the table and I go, I told you not to tell me anything, because you tell me something, it's going to interfere with whatever it is that I'm getting through to give you the insight into you. So once, what I found is that then they've given me feedback. It's like, oh my God, I now understand. I understand who I am. I understand why it is that I haven't fitted in, or why this person has had a problem with me, or why that person has had a problem with me. I now get it. And I now get that what I've got to do is be aware of all of the negativity, get rid of all of the fears and the negative beliefs, so that I am functioning from my true soul self, which has that connection to God. And it's like, what is your gut feeling, not what's going on inside your head. So all of these people that are coming forth with all of their judgments in regard to Russell, it's like, well, where did you learn that?
Yeah.
Where did you learn that judgment? Where does that judgment come from? Because I don't have that judgment. So how come you've got that judgment and I haven't got that judgment? And that person over there has got something else that they want to say about it that doesn't agree with what you say, or you say, or you say. It's, yeah. So I'm always taking people back to, where did you learn that? Because you weren't born with it. Where did you learn to judge that person in that way? Yeah, and then a lot of people will go, well, like, well, he's been like that, and he was like that over there, and now he's, and therefore now it's proven it. And it's like, well, no, just because he was that over there doesn't mean that he is still of that ilk. He may have done a lot of personal growth work, because people change. I've seen it over the now 32 years of doing Born to Be Free, how people change. They change.
And also a lot of people who've been perpetrators of whatever. I mean, it's a well-known fact that people that have been through any sort of addiction themselves, if they manage to turn their life around, they can be the most helpful people to others
Phenomenal.
through that.
I was an emotional eater, and that morphed into an eating disorder.
Yeah.
When I was like in my, my late 20 or mid 20s through until like mid 30s, because of this perfectionism about the body, and you don't want to get fat, because I was fat as a kid. So with that, with me working on all of that and healing myself of that, I was then able to go and help people.
Exactly. And I think this is the thing. If we, that's why obviously a lot of people, everyone's on their own individual journey, but it's so fascinating where there's so much call for disclosure. You raise the sound of freedom, and I think that's such a good analogy. So everyone wants this stuff to come out, but when it does, they're offended at how it's come out, and they're looking to judge and pick holes. And the thing is, everyone wants to hear about what's been going on, but if people are going to then use that energy to keep everything in the low vibe, if they can use that energy to say, now we can see how we were fooled. I mean,
yes,
I've never been into politics, so I've never known anything about politicians. I refuse to have any discussions where people talk about whether it's left wing, right wing, because it's irrelevant. Labels are all irrelevant in my world.
You're like me. I sit there and go, what's right wing and what's left wing?
That's what I'm so sick about, because it's so not irrelevant to me. I don't care. Anyone can have what religious beliefs they want. It's not part of my conversation with them. But when we're asking as a mass for this global awakening, but at what vibration are we asking it for? Because what are we going to do with that? Is it this self-righteousness, or is it so we can say, now it's out in the open, we can clear it, we can be aware of where all our brainwashings were? So I thought when I first saw years ago Barack Obama on the TV, I thought, oh, what a lovely man. You know, I didn't know him. I didn't go into it in detail, but I just didn't, you know, I thought, oh, how sweet, you know. And we can all be fooled by these things. And then as we age and we learn the hard way normally, our intuition and our reading characters gets better. But surely evidence is just to say to keep away from it and not encourage. And with people like Russell Brand or Ricardo Brosi, or all these people who've really put themselves out there, that I think a lot of the problem is that the general public are still looking to idolize them and put them on a pedestal and want them to fit into their box of what a person in that needs to be. And it's like when you look at a top sports star, most top sports stars would be labeled as selfish because they have to say no to a lot of things to achieve their goal. Any very successful people often has to put their goal first to have achieved that level of success. And you know, if we're going to label that as selfish because they haven't met our needs, well then that's our problem, not theirs, like Ricardo's.
That's right. And I think the thing is that, you know, like, you know, my work in that I've done overseas, and with you know, the majority of them, they would say, look, if I put my big toe into a whole lot of like negative stuff, like I won't say, it's like it's on the front page of every newspaper all over the world. But if the plumber down the end of the street puts his whole foot in it, nobody cares. Nobody cares. So it's a very, very interesting life. And I think what is going on at the moment is that people are being pushed and pushed and pushed to do what it is that their soul has come here to do. And we are being pushed big time, big time. So when this is happening and the individual is starting to fulfill that, then they're going to upset a lot of people, because a lot of people have seen them in this light. So it's like, well, no, I don't want you to be like that. I want you to be like this because this is how I have known you. And you've got to stay in that little frame in order for me to feel safe and secure in my life. And I think this is happening with friendships, this is happening in marriages, this is happening in families, because people are going, no, I can no longer be limited to that picture that I have been living in order to make all of you happy and to make all of you comfortable. I have to do this. And so people with me with my work, and they go, you know, like, why do you choose to do this? I go, I don't. So like, I don't choose to do this. I do not have a choice. And people go, but everybody's got choices. I go, no, you haven't. No. When you start and you connect with your soul's energy, choice goes out the back door, because you are driven. You're driven to do that work, because that's what the soul has come here to do on the planet. And it's got nothing to do with you, how you've been programmed, what you've been programmed to do. If it's that, if it's your soul, if that's what you've come to do in order to fit into the big picture of everything. And as Peter Brock, who is Australia's leading racing car driver, said to me when I did his charts for him, I said, any questions? He said, no. He said, you've just worked out the equation of me in regard to where I fit into the huge equation of the world and of the universe. And I went, oh my God. And I looked at him and I went, do you mind if I use that? And he just chuckled and he said, no, it's okay, T, you can use that. But it is, we're all a part of this whole, and we've all got our different energy vibrations to do with our soul, and it's to fit in with the big, huge energy of the universe. And when everybody sits within their soul's energy vibration, the world will work. And this is what I see. This is where we are all heading. It's about know thyself. Know thyself. You are not your programming. Where you were not born with fear or negative beliefs. You were not born to judge this one or to judge that one. Yeah, and there's a little something came up on social media a little while ago now, and it was a film, and it was a black mother with her little black toddler, a white woman with her little white toddler, and you see them, and both of the kids are screaming as they're running toward each other and just wrapping their arms around each other like little 3-year-olds. And it's like, yeah, guys, see that? That's how we were born to be. That's how we were born to be. But we were programmed, depending on the family that we've been raised in and the society that we've been raised in as well, how to treat each other. Fascinating.
It is really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. And I hope that, you know, we don't all forget to enjoy the journey. And there's so much like, wait till this happens, wait till that happens, do this, do that. I completely agree with what you started off with, you know, trust in God, but tie up your donkey. You know, if you think you're going to need certain things, then get them in. If that's not in your consciousness, then don't. You've got to do what's right for you and take all the different opinions and then decide which ones you're going to stick with for now. And, you know, let's hope if we all grow and evolve, we'll all have different opinions next year, you know, or next year, whatever, because we're not meant to stay with them for the rest of our lives. That's to
no. And the thing is with this that's going on with Russell, it's like, how do we know that this is not something that's been pulled out of the hat to take our attention away from something else that is going on?
Completely. And this is
right?
and all of these. Sorry, there's delay. We're not really talking over each other. There's a delay on the Zoom. So exactly, because all of these things are true. I mean, it's definitely distracting away from other things, you know, because he's so popular, people are really interested in it. But look at what half the politicians have done, and they've got away with murder, you know. So it's like, oh, you know, it's really interesting. It's going to raise lots of different emotions, opinions, discussions. And that could be really good if they're used constructively to move things forward, rather than to distract you from what you need to be doing in your own life to be the best contributing factor for yourself and everyone else around you.
Yeah. No, it's like, it's just, oh.
Where do you, just to finish off, how are you feeling about the general state of things? And I would sort of add to that, Teymara, in terms of, have you got any feelings where you're thinking like, oh, I hope this happens next, or are you just going with the flow?
No, I always just go with the flow. I just go with the flow, because as we all know, the way that everything has been happening, and when we listen to people like Derek Johnson, that's got that insider information, it's like I just sit and I just smile. I smile, you know, because I mean, Australia is now one of the states of the United States. We're a state of the United States of America. You know, so I'd love for you to, you know, to have a look at that show. You'll love it. You will love it. It's like, it's really, really interesting. It's very, very interesting. And so I always,
if you can send me the link, I'll put it on my Telegram for everyone.
Okay, yeah, not a problem. Yeah. Is it on the, yes, yeah. Sandra actually sent it to me as a link, because it's also on the Australia One page, but I've got it as a link. So I'll send that, definitely send that over to you. But all I can say to people is, it's moving along, it's happening, and it's very, very interesting. It's just very, very interesting. And I'm feeling really positive.
Mm.
I'm feeling really positive, and I'm just loving the fact that I am now able to go to people that have been jabbed and just say to them, listen, there's this that you can get, that you can go on, there's this that you can go on, you can go to the healing center, have your full body scan done. It will show you exactly what's going on inside of your body. You'll know what it is that you need to take, but it's all basically like practitioner. So practitioner, I'm looking at things in that practitioner, as you would know, because you would actually have access to them. Your practitioner level products that you can only get from a practitioner are made of the highest quality of ingredients. So you're going in anywhere else, please just look at the label on the back, go home, Google who owns that company. And I'm telling you now, nearly, well, 95% of those that I have checked are all owned by Big Pharma.
Absolutely.
So as soon as they've taken over, they've got their formulas and they mess with their formulas. And I was talking to someone yesterday about telomeres.
Yeah.
And they're going like, what's a telomere? You know, and I went, okay, look, it sits on the end of the chromosome that's connected to the DNA. It's like, oh yeah, right, okay, yeah. But the thing is, it's like if you're with your diet, with your everyday lifestyle, with all of the muck that they've put in our food, in our air, whatever, it's like, oh, I went, how do I explain this? I said, do you use shoelaces, or do you remember shoelaces when you went to school? Yeah. And they go, yeah. And I go, right. Do you remember, like, and if you look at them now, they're all sealed at the end. The laces are sealed at the end. Yeah. So I said, so when you go home, I'd like you to get one shoelace. On one side, it's all sealed. The other one, pull all of that coating off and fray out the end of it. Okay. And they go, yeah, right. I said, so the one that's sealed, right? That is a telomere.
Mm.
And that sits there, and this is what we are born with. As we go through life, what happens is that it gets broken down and we end up and it becomes frayed. So it means that our cell duplication is way out of whack. Plus, if those frayed ends become brittle and break off, that means that if we've got all of these little telomeres that are all frayed, they've come brittle, are all breaking off. Once they're all broken off, have a guess what? I go, what? I went, you're dead. You're dead. So many years ago, I did a whole lot of research in regard to telomeres and telomeres. You know, and I looked it up today because my anti-aging guru, it's like he passed, you know, quite a while ago now. But that particular product is still available on the market to repair your telomeres, you know, to repair the telomeres. And I looked at it, I thought, oh my God, it's $150 American just for one product to fix the end of our you know, our chromosomes, to get the telomeres growing back again. Yeah, and the same as you, like I did a whole lot of research in regard to the X39 patches. And one of my girlfriends started on them about 15 months ago. And I said, you give me the report in regard to how you go, because I don't do anything. I don't take anything. I don't use anything. And yes, unless I've done the research or somebody around me has actually been using it.
Yeah.
So it's like, so I'm now on my X39 patches. And I got some for my daughter, and my girlfriend bought the other pack from me. And so I've been doing now all of my research in regard to the X39 with the healing of the telomeres.
Absolutely.
because it heals that, but not only that, it heals this, it heals this, it heals this, it heals this, and it's got the best. And I always say to people, you know, like, you may think that your heart is the most important organ in your body, but it's not. It's actually your liver. And the X39 patches have the greatest healing power on the cells of a person's liver than anything else that they can take. How about that? That is just like excellent. You know, but with Jen, after 12 months, she went to have her eyes tested, and she was two strengths down in her glasses, and she'd done nothing. That's all she had been doing, is that. And now, 15 months later, she's thrown away her glasses.
Yeah, and this is what I such a good point is, you know, you've got to do your research, absolutely, but you don't need to wait to start your healing journey, because there's so much good stuff out there now already. But the person that has to take action on it is you, and you need to do the research that you need to do, just like Teymara and I do, to satisfy yourself for what's the right thing for you and what you can and can't trust is really.
And again, like I say, because with me, because I've got so much that's presented to me all the time, I have people that will go and they will test things, and I'll go, right, okay, so what is it? What did you get? What was the changes in you? Because I won't promote anything to anyone unless I know that it works. It has to work.
Same with me, and any reputable therapist will do that, because their reputation is far more important than any one product.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is, with the study that we've done in regard to health, like somebody said to me, like, what's that? A diploma of nutritional science? And I went, yeah. They went 1982. I went, yeah. I'd been like, oh my God, way back then. And I said, yes, I was doing this way back then.
Exactly. And you know, we learn, and the challenges are changing, so we have to keep updating our information, because unfortunately we know that the challenges being thrown at us all are far greater than they were when you and I were children, and therefore we have to move with the times and keep up with that. We can't just sit in our roles and think, well, I was all right back then, I will be now, because alas, that doesn't follow.
No, it just doesn't. Like, it just doesn't at all. Yeah. So if people are wanting the information that I've got from the X39 from my friend Jen, my gorgeous friend Jen, just send me an email, and I'll send you through, because it's, with me, I cannot be inundated with a whole lot of information. I just want things very, very clear cut. It's this, it's this, it's this. It does this, it does this, it does this. Very, very simplistic thing. So every man and his dog, as we would say here in Australia, every man and his dog will understand what it is, will understand what you're talking about. Yeah? Yeah.
So all of tomorrow's links, as usual, in the comments box below. Sorry about the echo we're getting. We've had a few issues with that. So please do connect in with Teymara. She's got her Rumble channel. She's got her website where she offers all her personal services, readings, events, contact details for finding out about things like this, and obviously all my details are below. And I hope you found that useful. Let us know in the comments what you liked. Let us know your thoughts on it, what's working for you, and we will be back again very, very soon. Thank you so much, Teymara. Have a wonderful evening.
Could I just finish up with something? This week's overview is up on my Rumble this week, and it is really, really interesting. Really interesting, because what they told me, okay, we know that the year is karmic. September is a doubling up of the energy each year, so we are in the karmic month of the karmic year. We are now going into the third week, and the third week is always breakthrough. So the number 3 is breakthrough. Things are starting to happen. Next week's going to be a doozy. It's going to be a doozy, because it's like it's the 4th week. Yeah. So it's like something's going to be going on next week.
Brilliant. Well, all the links will be below. Make sure you go and check that out. We really want to know what you think. Thank you so much, Teymara. Thank you so much for everyone.
Thanks, honey. I love you. Yeah. Bye, folks. Right. Just, and the thing is that don't treat another person in the way that you wouldn't want to be treated yourself. It's really, really simple.
Best advice ever, Teymara. Love you lot. See you soon.
Love you too. Bye, darling.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. My goal is to inspire as many people as I can to live their best lives, to stay curious and to raise their consciousness and that of the collective. So to do this, I need to reach as many people as possible, and this needs your help. If you feel drawn, would you be willing to share your favourite episode with 5 different people? This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. If you feel drawn to do that, I will be very, very grateful. All the links and discount codes where applicable for all the products that I support are on my 2 websites, catherineedwards.life and catherineedwardsacademy.com. All of the products are personally tried and tested by me, my family, and my clients. And finally, please do press the follow or subscribe button, depending which platform you're listening on. And above all, stay curious and stay free.